it goes so fast, all tied up like a captive. I want you. Used to pay my mind like standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I know no patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger,
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the FailcastF1 podcast with myself, Mr. Valkenberg, relevant name again these days, and alongside me, as always, is the massively talented Definitely Zero. How are you doing, good sir?
Bonjour, mon ami. I'm very well. I'm excellent, in fact. The only bummer today was that there was a protest outside my house all morning, like a really huge one, against Corona. I didn't know you could protest a virus away, but apparently you can. So I had the ironic pleasure of like 10,000 people, I believe it was, marching past my house, like all dancing together and hugging and doing hippie nonsense, without wearing masks or anything. So I'm leaving the country on Monday and hoping I can still get out and that they haven't just knackered it all for me.
I hope you've closed some windows in there because what a bizarre mentality.
Yeah, I know, right? I have closed my windows because also I've got to stop the police noise getting in. Also, let me crack open my icy cold Red Bull a second because that's obviously...
What flavour?
One just classic Red Bull today. I've taken it back to the old school.
Oh, back in the day.
I'm hoping everyone on stream can hear you. It looks like they can, so that's good. So after the success we enjoyed last week, and I thought a P4 and P5 for us, first time, no DNFs, not bad, not bad. My strategy kind of messed things up a bit because I think I could have won that race. But nevertheless, I had my croissants for breakfast. Well, actually, I had, to fully embrace the French culture of the team, I had a fully French morning. So I had, for breakfast, I had chocolate croissants, black coffee and pornography. And then for lunch, I had something garlicky. And now I have garlic, which I'll stick in my shirt again. And this time I've switched over to a red onion for my arse. Yeah, I just thought it'd be good to mix it up. And then maybe if I'm feeling a bit fruity for the Monaco Grand Prix, I'll put a shallot up there. So that's just... Oh,
very fancy. When we get to the Asian races, I think you should substitute that for at least a spring onion.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We can be very versatile because there is a wide range of onions available. Some of them obviously more arse-friendly than others. But the good news is that I'm here as like your guinea pig, and I can tell you which are the most arse-friendly onions by the end of this season.
I feel like this should be a new subject or like drop down in the Recon fetish app for the gays.
Five KY jellies out of 5.
Slippery when wet.
So you and I...
Hey Mana, welcome to the stream.
You and I are at Bahrain this time out.
We are indeed.
A track that we've had mixed fortunes at historically.
Mana's popped in the chat button, not squash, question mark.
Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm, mate, but I don't think I'm quite that brave.
That would be the first thing that comes to mind with that is did not qualify.
Did not get into the car. I mean, imagine the seat fitting. I think my sound levels are a little too high. Let me just That's better. Yeah, no butternut squash for my arse, just onions. But yeah, we've had mixed fortunes at Bahrain in previous years. Tends to be a few corners that catch us out.
Yep.
Also, I found it very hard to get a setup that I'm happy with for this race in my career mode.
Yes.
I don't know how you've got on.
I did all right round here on career mode, but I think my setup is a bit on a knife edge because, and it's that same old two corners that bugger me up every single time. The double left-hander at the end of sector 2 onto the mini back straight. I've never been able to do that in any game for love nor money. But it's also the double right at the end before you get the second to last straight.
Yeah.
If I don't take that corner wide and properly, I'm right on the knife edge of being able to take it flat out or not. And I'm so used to taking it flat out in previous games that it just sends me around like a top if I forget. So, yeah. But I still feel confident.
Crasherama, I'm sure. Well, for me, I always have trouble at the end of Sector 3 coming back onto the start-finish straight. I lose a lot of time there, like a huge amount of time, and I've never been able to figure out why. But also, generally, the car is either too lax on the brakes, particularly into the awkward double left-hander, and the end of the start-finish straight. That's a corner I've always struggled with. Simply because I think I'm just being too ambitious on the brakes.
Okay.
But nevertheless, how about we dive in and do some qualification?
That would be grand, although I don't have you sitting in the lobby.
I'm not, because it would compromise the quality of my stream audio, so I'm only doing it now.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
I was getting a bit worried then that we'd managed to get into separate lobbies somehow and found a new F1 2020 bug.
And incidentally,
bring back the old days.
thank you to everyone who has been leaving such lovely comments and getting in touch and doing nice things. We are up to 24 followers on my stream, which is double where we started. Hey,
Nice.
Beetlejuice, how are you, mate? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining.
Lots of people on the old gram as well, following as well now.
Yeah.
A couple of hundred.
Yeah, we're doing all right. We're getting a profile. I knew shoving an onion up my arse would achieve something. I just didn't know what.
Not a ratatouille.
No. Oh, that Red Bull is good.
Wow. Nom, 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 nom. I've had to wake me up, and I've only found them new today. Cookie dough munchies.
What the hell are cookie dough munchies? They sound delicious.
You know the old munchies chocolates? They're a bit of a...
I've not had those in years.
No, I didn't know they still existed, and they've come out with a new flavour for cookie dough. Proper nice.
It's no wonder we're both fat, really, is it? It's like a global conspiracy. I hope the sound levels are all right for you, by the way. Yeah, Simon, I needed to ask you about this. Thank you for reminding me, Beetlejuice. I was suggesting that we could also branch onto OnlyFans. Because my idea was that we'd have an OnlyFans that was full of just really wholesome pictures of the two of us. So, like, like in the Sunday Times supplement or like Sunday magazine in the News of the World, you get those pictures of guys in like chunky knit sweaters on the back of some horses. Or like, Alan Titchmarsh in a garden. Like, just a load of pictures of us like that. Put that on our OnlyFans. I think there'll be a market for that. Like, wholesome OnlyFans.
Should we call it Only Laps? Or something like that. The thought of me being on OnlyFans disturbs me to the very core of my foundation. Man has popped in the chat. I thought onions only made you cry when you gut them.
Well, to be fair, the onion up the arse did get me P4 and pole position last week. So
that is true.
I'm going with a default setup, which I know historically is a very bad idea. But I've not been able to find one that works better. I've not been able to establish one. Also, Beetlejuice, I'm sorry, I forgot to give you due credit for your lovely pun that you opened with, the Renault drivers, as in null pois. However, we got pois. We have pois coming out of our arse as well as onions.
Croissants, very fast croissants. whilst we're at Bahrain, and it just popped into my head, what do you think about the proposed Bahrain oval type layout? I think it would be quite an interesting little setup to do, where it runs around the perimeter with like a weird little diggity chicane halfway round one of the laps.
I think I'd like to see it. I'd be open to that. I'm not averse to a little bit of experimentation, as my veg cabinet can now attest. So yeah, why not? You know, I've just remembered I turned traction control off, and I'm now shitting my pants. It's a good job I wasn't never going to cook that onion.
I was going to say, good job. Veggies need fertiliser.
No, but I'm in general, I'm in favour of the experimentation. Generally, I'm not a huge fan of oval racing, if I'm honest, but I think as a one-off, it'd be all right. And you know, I managed to tolerate Indianapolis briefly.
That's true, and I guess it's not like a full-on oval because it's still doing. It's like turn 1 to turn 3, and then like a bit of a chicane, and then popping out the other side. So, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Would it cancel my lap? No.
There is a yellow
Ignore
flag.
what I've just
Is that
done.
you?
That was me forgetting to brake and turn whilst putting my fuel back up to max 4.
If it makes you feel better, I had a lovely fail the other day, and thank Christ it wasn't on stream. And I think you'll appreciate this, Beetlejuice, because I know you'll have a bit of ineptitude. So I was starting a multiplayer race, and the lights went out, and instead of dropping the clutch and pressing the throttle, I dropped the throttle and pressed the clutch. So I stayed completely still.
We have all been there.
Yeah, just us more than others, sadly. So, diving straight into our big bag of newsy type articles, quite a lot has happened since we were last on, and now I'm full of croissants, chocolate, and pornography. I feel ready to tackle it in truly French style. Obviously, the big news: Sergio Perez. Our thoughts going out to him because he's been diagnosed with COVID-19, which that really sucks. Hopefully they've caught it early and he doesn't have to suffer the worst of it, because I've heard some real horror stories from I know a few YouTubers who've had it actually, and some of their stories are really grim. But he was obviously needing to be replaced, and with Racing Point having access to Mercedes young drivers, it was considered likely that the seat would probably end up going to Esteban Gutierrez because Stoffel Van Dorn is busy doing Formula E type things. Thank Christ it didn't, though, because they called up a little over a second off the back of his teammate. FP2, that came down to 0.6 of a second. And then by FP3, he was a tenth down, which I think is very respectable for a guy who's not been in the car. What I would say, though, is he was having to nurse his neck quite a lot. And I don't know how well that's going to bear for him over the course of a full-length Grand Prix. And I wanted to get your take on this. What are your thoughts?
I was impressed with his pace and how he got back up to speed again. I think it's really interesting to note that it's only been 3 Grand Prix. It doesn't seem like it, but it's only been 3 Grand Prix since he was last in a Grand Prix. So it's not the hugest of gaps in terms of like actual race, but it is the first time that he's been in that actual car. Also the way how it's all pulled together as well. So he was sat outside the circuit, not allowed to enter the circuit until his negative test had come through. So like you're not able to kind of get properly in with your bubble and dealing with all of the engineer side of things and stuff like that. So he only literally got into playing around and actually being with people in person about 6 or 7 minutes before FP1. So cutting it fine to I keep getting those YouTube ads for manscaping, the lawnmower 3.0. That was a cutting it fine moment for him at the same time. So really impressive in the way how he's gone about and been methodical and put himself back up again. I do like a Nico Hulkenberg radio message as well, so I was pleased when his left bum cheek came up over the radio as being numb. That made me laugh. But yeah, straight in. We know Stroll isn't usually the best qualifier, so it's good that he was in and around him. I think Silverstone is going to be a challenging one, potentially fitness-wise. Now, Hulkenberg was still going off and being active in terms of racing anyway, so he'd have kept up his fitness to a degree. But obviously, you're going to have that kind of fatigue potentially over the course of a race, because when you use on the onboard laps, Maggots, Beckett's, Cops, they're flat out these days.
Yeah.
And watching that Mercedes was stunning in qualifying. And that's last year's Mercedes. So, A, it's the best car he's ever driven. I'd imagine that he's also kind of going, God, this is what a good car feels like.
Yeah.
And that might take him a while to get used to as well, because... apologies, I've got a bit of a monologue, but sometimes when you're a midfield driver, transitioning to, and he said it actually in, I think it was FP1 in his feedback, transitioning from a car that you've got to wrestle because it understeers and it's not responsive, his first comment was, this racing point is really on the nose and it's really fragile in the way how it turns, and it's all down to really tiny nuance, which makes me think that all of his cars beforehand have been such trucks that he's had to kind of throw it around everywhere, and there's a bit of changing of how you approach that as a driver.
Yeah, I think you've summarised that very, very, very well. Two things I just want to derail the conversation, because that's what we do here. Number one, I'm currently watching Valtteri Bottas drive around in his fancy new black livery. That's nice, Codemasters, but why can't we have our own numbers on our cars? Because I see you've got Daniel Ricciardo's number 3 on your car.
Yes.
And secondly, I just want to take a minute to acknowledge chat. Beetlejuice, good question. What have I done to freshen up? Many things. I've got an onion up my arse, for one. But as I was explaining to Simon at the outset of the stream, I had pornography and chocolate for breakfast. He did ask if I've not showered for a week. That's true, but I can't use that as like extra French credit, because that's just what I do anyway. That's just a normal week for me.
It's your premarital ritual.
Yeah.
Just
no showering, just to make sure. You are currently P3, sir. Half a second down on me. I am.
And you are P1.
Yes, I'm.
You're really quick in this game.
Yeah, they've switched back to the. It feels like they switched back to the physics from the game before the last one, and that was the one I was fastest on. Yeah, so. Obviously, we're hoping for to see Nico have a good result in the race. It's not surprising he didn't match Lance. It's funny, actually, as well, because I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen a huge amount of articles suddenly saying, oh, was Lance Stroll this good all along? And it's like, well, this is what we were saying ages ago.
Again, we're ahead of the curve. He's not terrible. He's not terrible. And it's very annoying and very frustrating. I think from Hulkenberg's perspective, I'd just like him to have a clean race where he gets loads of mileage under his belt and picks up points, hopefully, this weekend. And then he goes full on attack next weekend. Because isolation in the UK is 10 days. So Perez cannot race next weekend.
No.
He's not allowed. So it's in for the 2 races, which will be good. Same circuit, same layout, meh. But that will actually play to Nico's advantage because he'll get up to speed. And on the whole thing around Stroll, he does have speed, he does have pace. He needed to sort out his qualifying. I still think he needs to sort out his qualifying because he nearly got chucked out in Q2 today. And yeah, he just needs to chill it a little bit, and then I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. His qualifying is a bit too up and down for my liking.
Yeah.
But given how strong he is on an opening lap, it might not prove to be too bad. What I was really hoping for, though, was for Hulkenberg to just be on it straight away, and I was really hoping that he comes back in and gets a podium.
Well, that's every YouTube comment I've seen on an F1 stream is it's all lining up for the Nico podium, and no.
No, at least not. At least not
it
here.
It would be wonderful. It would be wonderful. It happened though.
But see, the worrying thing is as well is that the medium is considered the best race tyre, and that car doesn't look good on the medium at all, which surprised me. I don't know how viable it is to go soft hard, or if you'd have to go soft hard soft or something. But because really you want to be one stopping if that's what everyone else is doing. It surprised me how unhappy it looked on the mediums, and that, to be fair, so did the Mercedes. At times, because obviously Lewis had his incident at the start of Q2. I'll be honest with you, there was just a little bit of me, just a teeny bit in the pit of my stomach that was hoping that he'd go out and do the same thing again, ruin 2 sets of mediums and then have to start on the softs, just to shake things up a bit. Because
that would have been nice, but and I was kind of hoping for Bottas to get the pole again this time, although last year it was juicy because it was just 0.06 of a second. It looked like it could have been the same again, but the mighty Mercedes carried on.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, Bottas to me looks more comfortable around the circuit, but Lewis has always got that ability, especially on one lap, to just find time, right? And I'm interested to see how it plays out in the race. If Bottas can be aggressive off the line and get a good start, I think he can control the race from the front.
Do one of his guess-its.
Yeah.
Off the line.
Because, I mean, he proved that in Austria for me. Like, he had so many safety cars in that race. But he was able to control it and manage it and keep Lewis behind him. That, you know, Lewis is the faster driver, but that doesn't really matter if you're firmly stuck behind your teammate. I was waffling so much, I almost forgot to go out again, set another lap time.
Man has popped in the chat. He thinks Hulk will come in 7th. I think he will be 7th or 8th as well, actually, to be honest. And I still think that would be considered a good result for a return. But I would then be miffed if he wasn't battling for the top 6 next time around, because I'd expect that leap.
I'm expecting he'll get a DNF.
Oh, really?
Yes. The midfield is even closer than it was previously. It's a new car for him at a fast circuit.
Smash into the back?
Yeah, where they're all going to be bunched up together.
Where's Grosjean? Oh, he's a couple of places back in it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always the Grosjean factor. The
Haas sandwich.
And the other thing is, nothing good ever happens. So because it would be good to see Nico Hulkenberg get a good result, he'll get a DNF. It was like when Danny Rick moved to Renault, and like as soon as he turned a wheel, his front wing dropped off. Like that's the sort of thing that happens here in the real world. Like if he was going to have one good race, I just wanted him to have a good one there. That's all I needed.
Tears now. Yeah.
But no, drive over a loose drain cover, lose your front wing, and yeah, I just get the impression that he's going to get caught out. I mean, he looked a bit unstable in the car anyway, right? He lost the back end on all his laps, costing him time.
Windy round Silverstone, isn't it?
Yeah, but also, though, I was surprised to see how many cars are loose. The Red Bull looks awful, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I want to get onto that with Albon later on, because I have quite a few things to get upset about.
The Mercedes and the Racing Point both... They seem fast to different degrees, but they both seem unsteady. And then there's the McLarens as well. Like they don't look so happy, but they do look a bit more planted at least.
Yes, that is true, and It's a symptom of this new era because the cars are so bulky and heavy, and it's electronics. You're either on or off power. There is no kind of margins for it, and you've got to hold. So it works until it doesn't. If that makes sense. Oh, there was a yellow flag, and that was all about AI. Interestingly.
Oh, I thought it was me. I thought I'd done something.
No. So it means that like once it snaps, a bit like Pringles but in reverse. Once you pop, you can't stop. Once you snap, you can't get it back. So yeah, those cars feel really on the knife edge, and it doesn't surprise me that you've got the likes of Albon binning it in FP3 or Latifi doing a few 360s, Russell as well, Giovinazzi causing a red flag in FP1 for huge spins, because there is no margin for error because everyone's so close to the edge of the limit, as we're at the end of a era of like aerodynamic and regulations. So yeah, oh, you juicy bard.
Yeah, I mean, it actually felt slow because I was spinning my rears. I'm not Jonathan Ross. I was spinning my rears up a little bit. Sorry, I don't have my mini map on, so I'm trying to figure out how far behind me you are because you let me through, didn't you?
Yeah, I've buggered up this lap already.
I don't want to get in your way.
That's right, you're nowhere near yet.
See, the thing is for me, if I'd known at the start I would have this pace, then I would have gone medium tyres. But hey ho, nothing to be done about it now. But yeah, I mean the Alfa Romeo also looks terrible, and the weird thing for me was the one car I didn't see struggling in qualifying in that way was actually the Haas. And I don't know if that's because they got almost no camera time because they've become sort of a non-entity. And it's also really weird, like the roller coaster going on at that team at the moment between Grosjean and Gunter Steiner. Because one minute they're like having a pop at each other in the press, and then they're defending each other, and it's really odd. It's really, really odd.
Terrible lap.
Hiya, Wadge, I hope you're well, mate. We've got a question. Do we think if Hulkenberg gathers points, he'll be eligible for a potential return with Haas? I wouldn't rule that out, but Haas have been talking a lot about taking a rookie.
They've got Delatraz in their junior pool, although Delatraz is not having the best year in F2 this year, it must be said. I don't know where else they would pull from unless they've got an American in the wings, which would have been Correa, but not now that he's recovering from the accident of 2019 with Hubert. So
imagine the Jaws music playing. Imagine the Jaws music playing.
Yep.
Mick Schumacher.
No!
Yeah, it will be.
I think that he'll come in to replace Kimi. Assuming that Kimi's had enough at the end of this year.
Beetlejuice makes a good Beetlejuice makes a good point. Oh, thank you. I don't know where the lap time came from, but it came. Beetlejuice makes a good point though. They won't hire him while K-Mag's there, which is true. They fucking hate each other. Then again, that would be the least of Haas's problems. Actually, now I think about it. But honestly, I see them keeping K-Mag and taking on a rookie or outside chance Sergio Perez. He was rumoured to be talking to them because they need the money, and he has the monies. Although Racing Point have now said there is no get-out clause on Perez's contract. So has that killed the Vettel move stone dead? Oh,
potentially.
It's a 2-stop race.
It always is normally around this circuit because of how it ruins tyres. I forgot we was at 50% for a minute.
Were you hoping we were at 25? Are you fucking sick of me already? 11 years of this shit. Get rid of it.
Whilst we're talking at strategies, actually, can I put my tinfoil hat on?
Yes, by all means. By all means.
So I was chatting about this with some real F1 people, and they was like, "Oh my god, I need a fucking bigger tinfoil hat. Bring me the colander." So Perez has gone on to the Instagram, of course, everyone's favourite place for social media support and help. And I wonder then, actually, no. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
We say that a lot on this show.
That is true. With how I need to say this carefully. So Perez has gone on line to say I have no symptoms of COVID whatsoever. I went to visit my mum. She was in hospital. She'd had an accident for 2 days in Mexico, and I visited her when she came out. I have no symptoms whatsoever. It comes back. There is a rumour going around the F1 paddock that what they have tried to do is then release Perez from his contract because he has got COVID-19, and therefore it is of detriment to the F1 team for him to be there in the future, which therefore paves the way open for a Vettel to appear instead. And my thoughts were, how much money would it take to forge a COVID-19 test, and how much money does Lance Stroll's father have? Because if Perez... Now, I know Perez has no symptoms, and I know that lots of COVID-19 people don't necessarily have symptoms, but it's just a quick swap from an inconclusive to a positive. He has no symptoms. It's a nice little payoff potentially for Perez, who can then gracefully bow out and just be like, do you know what? I'm now sidelined. I'll come back next year with Haas. In pops Hulk to fill the gap until Vettel's able to go. Not that I'd want Vettel, based on today's stuff anyway.
No.
Tom in the chat, he has billions. I've gone full on I've got the whole fucking wrap of tinfoil wrapped around my head of it. And I'm looking like a juicy turkey.
The problem is that it doesn't even sound that tinfoil hatty. It sounds perfectly believable. I mean, weirder things have happened in Formula One, let's be clear. Just got to address some stuff from chat. Beetlejuice suggests Haas should sign Hulk and then push for an exclusive spin-off Netflix show just about Haas, with Gunter trying to manage Hulkenberg and K-Mags as they fucking hate each other. That actually, I would watch the crap out of that. That would be a brilliant show. Yes, please. And yeah, mate, you are a Renault driver. Drink bloody Perrier. Never. Not going to be that French. No. Actually, I've got Volvic in the fridge. No, I'm sticking with Red Bull. Maybe next time I'll get a nice glass of chilled Sancerre or something.
I got Volvic and Vic Vapor Rub mixed up for a second, and I was like, what the hell are you doing?
I ask myself that all the time. For me, the thing is, we've got open seats at Haas and Alfa Romeo. Neither of them are attractive.
Nope.
Perez has a contract. Why would he give it up? Even for money. He's got money. He's already rich. He's a multimillionaire.
Precise.
What he wants is a legacy. He wants a career, right? He's only got a few years left. Why would you give up the first potentially race-winning car you've ever had?
Precisely. But I guess it's how good is it for a sponsorship payoff? Actually, that's a good thing. Well, I'll come back to that, Tom, in the chat. He said, speaking of Haas, have you seen William's story and Rich Energy are trying to buy Sunderland Football Club?
Oh, Christ.
And also, actually, have you seen Rich Energy is sponsoring someone in the BTCC? And all of the comments when they announced it was, what are you doing? And just memes of Haas underneath, and the photo where he put up where the Haas driver was in the forklift truck and things like that. And I was like, oh, that's not going to end well.
They also sponsor the West Ham women's football team, I believe.
Oh.
Beetlejuice makes a good point. Would Perez want to be in a team that's actively working against you? Yeah, well, that would change things up. If Simon's tinfoil hat conspiracy about the contract behind the grassy knoll is true, then yeah, I suppose you would want out. But I mean, I wouldn't go to fucking Haas or Alfa Romeo at the moment. If I had to pick between the two, I'd go to Alfa Romeo, because at least I'm confident they'll still be around. But I mean, that alpha male looks awful, and that's not something that you're going to develop yourself out of overnight. And then the horse, shitbox, really. Shall we start the race? We'll do the bit where we shut up for the first lap because we nearly kill each other, and then we'll get back to the chat.
Yeah.
All right. Prepare your rectums, everybody. It's always
I'm still
scary.
not sure on my strategy either. Oh, that was quick.
What strategy did you go for?
To stop, but
I tried to leave you space. It didn't really work.
no, you had plenty. You had plenty. I was busy watching what was going on behind.
Oh, you cheeky little bugger. Oh, this is... Why are we racing? This is always terrifying. Why do we do this? Yeah, you've psychologically battered me there. I'm too scared to approach you because I've got no traction control. It's just going to be a massacre.
Yeet. I hate that corner so much. So much rear wing looking.
Oh, we both went wide there.
I was looking at you thinking, no, 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 no.
Should we just get it over with and crash? Because we know this happens every time we race.
No, okay.
You're trying to defend yourself though, aren't you? But no, every time.
No, no. The drama. Ooh. Wider than my waistline, but we're there.
I got a really bad exit from that corner there. God, my hands are sweaty as anything.
Also, where have all the markers gone for the first corner? They were gone before we got to turn 1.
Oh right, I thought maybe we'd just taken them out en route. That's usually how it happens. Right, shall we try again to be podcast hosts, or is this still too emotionally fraught?
I feel like I need to weigh myself after this for the amount of sweat and tension that has dripped out of my rectum.
It's also incredibly hot here, and I've got an onion up my arse. So really, in the comfort levels, we're not really talking 5-star at the Grand Marriott. And people think I'm joking, but I am actually genuinely sat on an onion. Oh shit! Sorry,
Ooh.
I drifted.
Gin jams.
I drifted.
You drifter, you.
Like a train riding hobo, I drifted. And now I've got cramp in my thumb, so it's all happening. It's all action on the Failcast.
It is. Oh.
Right. Fucking hell, my hands are soaking wet. It's going to slip off the controls at some point.
I'm glad I make you wet.
Ooh. Right, back to F1.
It's been a while.
Back to F1 news. I'm not going to have a heart attack. Yeah, I tell you what, before we go into the Rich Energy saga, because it is a fucking saga, let's talk about Mr. Saturday Afternoon, George Russell. Potentially didn't slow down under yellow flag conditions. I don't know if they've already reached a decision, but I can see why Claire Williams was so insistent that he see out his contract, because the boy's on it on Saturday afternoon, isn't he?
He is. He needs to sort out his starts on a Sunday, and then he will be a quality driver. I noticed this last year as well. Kubica used to get round him at the first opening lap, and he'd spend the first stint stuck behind him, and then he'd be too far kind of back to do anything else. And Latifi's got round him each race, the last couple of races at least anyway, and made better starts, which has then kind of compromised him a little bit later on into the race. So it's just get the start sorted, and I think we are on to a winner, chicken dinner.
Well, do you think part of this is the pressure of carrying the team on his shoulders? Because even up against Kubica, right, it was down to him. So do you think he's just sort of psyched out on the race start, like I was, that he just doesn't want to damaged the car and just wants to make sure to bring it home. And,
Yeah.
And it's causing him to be maybe a little too conservative.
Yeah, because when you're the only one that matters, so to speak. Sorry, Nicholas, but yeah, it does make it awkward. So
awkward. Oh, that was a dive bomb. I left the door wide open for you as well.
Thank you very much.
And you've got the Durs.
They need to sort that out. Martin Brundle picked up on this last race, actually. He was like, we should have changed it by now, that if you've got past on the Durs, it doesn't automatically trigger, like, next time around for someone.
My tyres have suddenly gotten very, very slippery. And it's costing me a lot of time.
Ooh, yellow flag. It's an AI. It's a Red Bull going slow. It's Albon.
Be aware we expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
You're a bit late for that, Jeff. The grip levels have been falling away for the last 2 laps, mate. I'm all over the shop. Can you remember the last time you and I were fighting for a race win?
Green flag.
Me neither.
Never?
Never. Fucking never. That's when that's happened. What lap are you coming in on?
It was 6th. They've just moved it back to 7, though.
That's crap, because that's put us both 7.
We're approaching the pit.
When do you want to go first, if you're struggling?
I might end up... Well, actually, you should get first choice, because you're currently leading on track.
This is why we need to sit all shittable. Just be sitting there just going, no, all the way through. You put the baguette in the box.
I like how Cyril Abitbabul is Swedish in your imagination.
Do you know what? Someone left a really good... So I do the voiceovers for the Circuits of the Past YouTube channel, and there's a German town called... or a German racetrack called Gelsenkirchen, and I was really trying to like pronounce it vaguely properly, and I haven't there either. And someone put, I love how you've made my German town sound like it's based in Finland. And I listened to it back and I'm going, Gelsenkirchen. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I have Nordicked the shit out of that. I'm sorry, Wild. Oh, I don't want to hang on round the outside.
That was the correct decision, because I was bricking my pants. But I decided I can't let you psych me out over the whole Grand Prix. This is also more overtakes for the lead than we've seen in the entire real F1 season this year.
This is true.
Probably for the last 5 years, actually. I can't remember
No one's
many
even punted
overtakes
Albon
for
off
the win.
yet. Sorry, the whole F1 side of stuff has kind of gone a bit wrong.
It's fine. So let's get back
Coming
on.
for you.
Let's get back onto Haas and Williams, shall we?
Yes. Oh, Hamilton's just hit me.
Yeah, he hit me before as well. Scabby cur. But yeah, what's the deal? What's going on? Because I mean, they were talking about didn't Rich Energy release a mock-up of a Williams in a rich livery?
Yes. But I then found on Reddit that they had kind of stolen that from some Reddit user.
Yeah, it wasn't even their own
so it was
graphic.
never even them. Oh, problems.
Oh, what did you do?
Yeah, I just got tank slapper into that corner, so I had to really come off it.
Yeah, I'm having to lift going into corners, because otherwise the car just has no grip. I'll be pitting soon, then I can check chat. I'm sorry guys, my magnifier for old people hasn't arrived. I got a cheap one from China, because you know that's the way the world is now. Yeah, apparently. Oh, you're pitting now.
I waited until to see whether he was going to come in or not.
Oh.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Do you know, I think you might get the undercut as well, because these tyres feel like they're greased.
Oh no, I've come right out into a shit ton of traffic by the looks of it. Notably, some horses.
Well, how appropriate, given that's who we're supposed to be talking about, but clearly aren't. I mean, coming back to Rich Energy in a minute, the one thing I'm certain of is that they won't get rid of both drivers, and it's pretty obvious, I think, that K-Mag is the one they'll keep. Even though he and Gunter have had their ups and downs as well. Grosjean's clearly on the way out.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to end up at Alpha when there's
I don't think we'll see Grosjean at all.
so many more options that are in higher esteem right now. So the question, of course, does become who's going to fill that second seat. And Perez, for me, sounded plausible, although I don't know why it would be desirable for him. What I think is more of a likelihood, though, is it really sounds like they're going to take a chance on a rookie. He's been saying it in the press for ages now. Sweaty, sweaty, sweaty. Scenario 7. I did Scenario 7, but I missed your notification to undercut in Beetlejuice. I'm very sorry. Let's see if he's undercutted me.
No way, because I've just had to overtake. That's the third car I've had to overtake this lap, and now I'm on Grosjean.
Because I turned all my infographics off, so I have no idea what's happening.
No, and Hamilton's done me as well. Bad choice. Hamilton's come back out in softs.
Yeah, most people are going soft, soft, medium, but I'm going soft, medium, soft, because you can't saddle this stallion. Unconventional here. Oh, I'm so happy to have grip again.
It is a joyous occasion.
So I've come out behind a Racing Point and a McLaren that have been holding each other up.
Nice. Yeah, I can see you just ahead. Yeah.
Are you on mediums as well?
Yes.
This was a strategy that you weren't sure about.
It's my third stop. I don't know what to do on. Sorry, second stop.
Oh, were you thinking of going medium again?
Yeah.
That might not be the worst idea, actually. I'm going to see how this stint pans out. You might be onto something there, because those softs were horrible.
I know how I went in my... I've always done weird tyre strategies around Bahrain, because it was one in last year where the AI couldn't cope with it properly, and they kept on coming in for pit stops with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, that's something that's still not fixed, right? Because if you're doing a 100% race and then, say, 8 laps from the end, there's rain, they'll stay out on dry tyres even though Inters are way faster. So you can pit, fall down to like 10th position, and then come back and still win the race.
Yes, because I've not done it on the 100% races yet, but in my 25% races, the amount of stuff that goes on where it is the last lap, and it is absolutely crazy. I've got a Monaco Grand Prix in my career mode coming out where I make a bold tyre decision, which should have worked out in the normal, well, may have worked out in the normal world, but yeah, I was like, come on AI, do something, but none of them done anything.
I'm losing quite a lot of time now behind this McLaren.
Good.
I can get past.
I've got ultra competitive all of a sudden. Like, good, chuck it, go on, Lando, or Signs, whoever it is. Oh, it's Signs.
Yeah, I've got past him now, but now I'm going to get stuck behind this Racing Point. Because I'm just determined not to damage my front wing, because if you do here, then obviously it makes you really slow, even if you just lose an end plate, because of all the corners that you have to hold the line, like Toto,
and
at full throttle.
They've really tied it. They've made that so much more of a bigger thing this game, haven't they?
Yeah. Alright. I need to get past you. I'm guessing this is Perez, but you never know.
We're leading our teammate by 3.6.
Don't move it over on me. What a dick. He like moved out, so I went down the inside of him, and then as I was pulling up to him, he just turned directly in front of me. What a cock. Just watch them for that, because, yeah. Still, it's better than last year's AI, where he would have just steamrolled me into the barrier. He would have said, no, it's my racing line, and fuck you.
I still have PTSD over that German Russell moment.
Well, that was a legit attempted murder. Right, other news. Obviously, Vettel. Not the best weekend for him so far. He had no faith in Q2 in himself because while his teammate went out on the medium tyre, he decided he could only chance getting through on the softs. And I don't know if that was his decision or the team's, but I'm presuming he wouldn't have gone out on those if he wasn't happy. Not that it did him a huge amount of favours, he's really off the boil. And that makes the whole thing around Racing Point even more perplexing. You know, why would you get rid of a driver who essentially is delivering for one that definitely isn't? Just realised the sun has moved and is now glaring into my camera. I apologise, chat.
Keep this up.
On my pit stop, I will remedy this for you. I'm also hotter than the sun.
Yeah, I agree on the Vettel thing. I feel like he's become more and more disinterested. What was really interesting is that we've got this weird brake thing that seems to have plagued him all weekend, and this to me shows a couple of things. Firstly, that Vettel is really, really uncomfortable with this car because he's feeling or looking at things Zanardi-esque. To try and find different ways to try and solve problems or get pace or feel more comfortable, whatever it is, which is not grand. But the other thing is systemically at Ferrari, what are they doing? Still trying to solve like a brake issue that was on Friday in the middle of qualifying, still saying, oh, this is terrible, it's not worked out, things are going wrong, blah, 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 blah. That team should be like an oiled rag trying to... It just... No.
What, you mean floppy and ineffective? Because, you know, that's what they are.
Yeah, possibly.
There are two Alpha Tauris ahead of me, and I'm trying to see if they're on hard tyres. No, they just start...
Everyone so far's on mediums that I've passed.
Whoever that is just ran into the side of me, so thank you.
Kvyat's mediums. You've just got past.
He was trying to make a move on me there. That's hilarious. That's like, you know, Belgium trying to invade the United States. Just don't even bother. And that means I've got Gasly ahead of me now. Sorry, go. Yeah.
And I was going to say, talking of the Alpha Tauris, I still don't really know where to place them, but B, what do you make of the pendulum swing for Gasly in this car this year, of being able to make all of the big like statement and results for Alpha Tauri, considering that Albon, I think, is being set up. I don't think he's been set up to fail, but I think he's not being helped like he should be.
No, he's not. But they have swapped his race engineer to try and solve that, right? I think, to be honest, a big part of this problem is that he always did well in the Toro Rosso, so it makes sense to me that he would be delivering in the Alpha Tauri.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think moving him back to Red Bull and Albon down would help Gasly. It might help Albon. I still think Albon is the right one to have in that Red Bull. It's just this car looks very understeery in places, and there's something that just it fundamentally does not suit him. And because all they really care about is giving Max a car that he can work with, there's no doubt in my mind that he's being hamstrung to some degree by that compulsion on Red Bull's part. But I don't think, as you rightly say, I don't think it's truly reflective of him as a driver.
Do you think Red Bull should be reviewing who has the most closest driving style and therefore setup needs for a car to Max, and therefore putting them in the seat instead? Because I completely agree, they're chasing a car for Max and not a car that works for two. If that is the case, Kvyat done a nice little shut door on Spamorton there, lol. If that's the case where they need someone to match, because one of the worst thing you can do is have two drivers that want fundamentally really, really different things. I remember Alesi and Berger never had the same setups at Ferrari and Benetton, and so they could never optimise a car that would work for both. So it was always like a weird mishmash.
For me, that's definitely a contributory factor. I still don't think, all things being equal, I don't think Albon would be on the same pace as Verstappen. He'd always be a tenth or two down, but I still think he's capable of being in that range, and we saw that last year already. Red Bull should be considering driver fit, not just outright pace, which is what I think they tend to do. Because they put Gasly in, let's be honest, off the back of his fourth place. When he clearly, he wasn't really ready for that step up, I don't think. And although it was painful for him to move back down, it's clearly been the right move.
Agree.
But the problem they've got now is they've chewed through so many drivers. What I'm thinking I'd do, to be honest, is if I had to make a swap, and I'm not even suggesting that they do, swap Kvyat and Albon around. Have Kvyat, whose career is going nowhere really, have him keep the seat warm. He's the most experienced. If anyone can get a result out of the car, it should be him. And then do the usual Toro Rosso, have two excellent drivers in your junior team, throw them both away if they're equally good, or have them fight to the death for Kvyat's seat, and then give yourself a year or two for some more young talent to come through for Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
Because they just chewed through so many drivers so quick, and obviously Danny Rick has been the one to screw them on that, because they really wanted him to be the next Mark Webber and to just sort of accept a de facto number two role within the team and stay there for a few years supporting initially Vettel and then later Max. But he wasn't prepared to do that, and he left, and that meant they had to promote two young drivers in very quick succession, as well as at the time firing Dan Ticktum, and here we are. I mean, I don't even know who their young drivers are now.
And the problem is that their young drivers are not necessarily delivering properly. So at the moment in GP2, you've got Yuki Tsunoda, who did win in Austria, one of them, races, but is equally off the track as much as he is on it. So fast but erratic. Basically fulfilling every Japanese racing driver personality that you could possibly have at the same time. And I can't think of anyone else that's kind of in and around at the moment. What's been really interesting is that actually the Ferrari driver development program has got more going for it at the moment.
Which is unusual for Ferrari, right? But I guess Charles Leclerc has opened their eyes a little bit.
Yeah, and they've got Robert Schwartzman, who I think is onto really, really great things for the future. And they've actually got a raft of talent where I think they're going to struggle to place them in all three of their teams, because they'll want to hang on to Giovinazzi, who I don't think is doing a bad job at all.
No, but he'll never be a Ferrari driver, will he?
No, he won't. He's Italian. That's not allowed.
No, but I mean, he'll be the benchmark at Alfa Romeo that they use to measure a young driver against. But I could see them actually placing two young Ferrari drivers, one at Haas, one at Alpha. I could see that.
Yeah.
Or at least they're trying to.
Depend-
I mean, I know at Sauber, they don't really have the say over both race seats. And, you know, they're already taking up a seat with Giovinazzi, so maybe not. But, I mean, I'd quite like to see them give Schwartzman and Eilert a run.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm unconvinced yet about Callum Eilert. I think he might need one more season of it. Whereas Renault have stuffed themselves out. I am a self-proclaimed fan of Guan Yu Zhou, and I thought he would be the next Renault driver, but clearly not because Alonso's in there, so that bulks that out.
Do you know, a lot of people are raving about him, and I'll be honest, like I'm not super switched on with his performances and potential, but a lot of people talk about him being the star of the Renault program, and if he's as good as everyone's alluding, then yes, it really fucking annoys me that, even more than it already did, that Alonso is blocking that seat. Right, I'm going to cheese out for a minute, hit the pause button and let the AI take over, because I look like the ghost of Patrick Swayze on my face cam, so I need to block the sun out. There we go.
I think what the other thing that is let this be the 11th team thing has really continually opened my eyes, and it didn't need it opened much more for me, is that 10 teams isn't enough to keep the seats warm and to have new blood in and to have old favourites. I really want 12 teams back in F1. I don't mind there being an A and a B sector of it, although at the moment it feels like we're running multi-class with Mercedes versus the rest. Although if it was to be closer up, it would be great. But that solves a lot of these problems of having old favourites who, like, we have Kimi Raikkonen, IndyCar has Tony Kanaan. Like, previously it was Rubens Barrichello. Like, just the skeletons that refuse to go, but actually you love them really. And I like that, because if it's too much of a churn, which I think with F1 going for fetuses younger and younger over time, you run into this problem of it. You potentially have the issue where like drivers are washed up by the age of 25 and then the next new blood comes in again and you're like, no. I like having youth and experience, but having the room to have it, and seeing 22 cars on the grid, I think visually does actually look, I visually notice it and I feel more pumped about it.
I could not agree more. I think we may see one team join in the next few years, but I don't think we'll be lucky enough to get two, unfortunately.
No, agree.
And it's just not an attractive sport to be in right now. I think, frankly, we're lucky to have 10 teams.
Oh yeah. Did you hear actually? Claire Williams was saying that they've got a board of investors who are looking at buying into Williams, and that it will all be, currently it's on track to be agreed for September, October time.
Oh really? And that would be brand new ownership?
Investors was all that she said.
Oh.
So not necessarily brand new ownership, which I think is quite nice because it means that it keeps everything as we need to. Are you in this lap, by the way?
No, two more laps.
Okay, I'll come in this lap. I'm going to buy it.
Although I don't think I'll make 2 more laps looking at my tyre wear rates. But then again, I'm on softs at the end, and I remember the softs were even worse at this level of wear, so...
Oh, I stink. So much sweat.
Yeah, me too. It's so fucking hot in here. It really, really is. And chat, I really do apologise, guys. I love chatting with you, and I just can't see a fucking thing at the moment because the sun's blaring in, and your writing is also small. I'm going to pit soon, and then I will catch up with you. I promise by the next stream we'll have a solution, because it's not the same without being able to chat with you easily.
Tom's popped in the chat, so he thinks Kimi will sign on for 1 more year so that it then all comes over with new regulations, fresh start. I think it will depend on whether or not Alpha can actually catch back up with the rest of the grid or not, because he sounds pretty mega peeved off when in FP3 he was saying, "Oh, you put me out behind Giovinazzi," and he was like, "What fucking hope do we have if we can't even organise our own team properly?" Never mind dealing with the other 18 that are out
But
there.
to be honest, like I don't think it's a terminal case with Alpha by any stretch, right? Because they had a pretty solid
No, not at
car
all.
last year and the year before. It's just, it seems that this year they've got something wrong. And to be honest, it just looks like a lack of downforce from what I can see.
In this lap,
Yeah, it just looks skittish.
And of course, all the Ferrari-powered teams are suffering from a power deficit.
Yeah, because if you, and that's a really good point. So if you think that they are running 4 or 5 tenths a lap slower because of the reduced power unit from Ferrari, and some people say it's up to 7 tenths. If you then adjusted Haas and Alfa Romeo back in again, actually it puts them both back into kind of where they were in 2018 vibes.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it might not be the car is as terrible as perhaps it appears. I mean, it does definitely look like it lacks downforce to me, though. It looks,
Yeah,
it
definitely
looks
that one.
far too squirrely. But it's by no means a terminal case. It's not like, you know, a Williams situation where I think we're looking at, you know, a decade in the wilderness. Which, you know, McLaren also went through, right? I mean, they were uncompetitive for the best part of a decade. These tyres are fucking horrible again. I've lost a lot of time to you, I can tell you that. So I'm having to tiptoe round.
Well, I am behind Verstappen and Hamilton, so I'm not even your next best in line.
Pit charge! Right, let's see what's going on. Grosjean will end up as a chef, yes, probably.
Would you buy his cookbook?
No. No, I wouldn't buy his cookbook, and I haven't. Are they allowed to test Kvyat or Gasly in the Red Bull in FP1? That's a very good question. I believe not, right? Because the car you drive in FP1 is the car you're supposed to start the Grand Prix in.
I think so, yes.
But I mean, I don't believe there's anything in the rules that forbids them for swapping them around race to race. It's just, I know HRT got into trouble, right, for swapping drivers too frequently over the course of a season.
You're only allowed to have 4 drivers, so you're not allowed to have a 5th. I don't know if that rule is still allowed, though. It might not be now.
It's really bizarre driving with like the pro mode graphics almost, because not only did I just shift in the wrong place, good job me, but I have no idea how many laps are left or anything. So I don't know. I don't know who's behind me or by how far. Yeah.
So
it's
you've
crazy.
got Hamilton's next up behind you, then it's Verstappen and me and Bottas in a little squabble.
Ooh, juicy. And are you winning the
Um,
squabble?
Not yet. I'm about to, hopefully.
You might get the race win though, because I'm so hot and dehydrated that I may legitimately vomit and pass out. I'm barely holding it together. It's so hot today, guys. It really is.
It was the 3rd hottest day in UK history yesterday for us, and I spent the entire day working from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and I was really unimpressed.
Right. In the closing stages of our own Grand Prix, what are your thoughts for tomorrow? And chat, feel free to chime in because we will have a bit of a natter with you at the end because I feel we've neglected you far too much.
Yes. I think we are looking at a Hamilton win,
Yeah.
a Bottas second, and I'm not sure who will be third because I don't think it will be Stroll, but I think it might be a Leclerc because I think there is a high chance of both Red Bulls having some kind of wind-related incident. Without it sounding too awful, I think Hulk, if he finishes, will get lower end of points. I think Danny Rick will be best of the rest.
Yeah, for once, normally I pick one of the McLarens for that, but I somehow don't see it this weekend.
He just looks on form. And I think Ocon will get his first points of the year if he hasn't already got them. I don't feel like he has.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember if he has. It's sad, that, isn't it? Someone I was so looking forward to having back, and
he's been so anonymous.
Yeah, he's falling into the Stoffel Van Dorn triangle.
7 seconds.
Boo.
How many laps do we have left?
6.
Oh, 6 too many.
On lap 23 of 29.
My prediction, I'm going to actually call it a Bottas win, because I have a feeling that Lewis may make a mistake. Just like a little off, like a tyre on the grass around the outside or something, and Bottas sneaks through. I don't know why, but I have a very strong feeling about that. And I think it could be a Verstappen rounding out the podium. Hulk, I predict a DNF, just because nothing good happens. I think Danny Rick will have a good race car. What he'll do with it, hard to predict. I think Vettel maybe tail end of the points, possibly. And I think this time Sainz will outscore Lando.
Yeah, Sainz is due an outscoring because Lando's had all the fun in that team, it seems, this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering why that is, because the car doesn't seem like it's going to be drastically different from last year.
No, I just think Sainz has had some awkward strategy calls. And it's... so Lando has had... Actually, that's another question. Do you think Lando will, for the fourth race running, overtake someone on the last lap?
No, but I hope so.
Same. Last lap Lando seems to now be the thing happening.
Because, you know, I love seeing them like P2, P3 in the Constructors' Championship, and I was really hoping that they'd be able to hold out. Like, Red Bull would just be so erratic and Ferrari so non-competitive that McLaren sneak in and get P2 in the Constructors. That would make me super happy. What I would also like to see, although it won't happen, is George Russell pick up points. By God, he deserves them at this point.
This would be...
and at his home Grand Prix as well.
It reminds me of 1997 Damon Hill, when Murray Walker, completely ignoring the fact that after winning you can be second, third, fourth or fifth, when Hill crossed the line for sixth, and he went, after a win, this is the best result he could possibly have hoped for. And I was like, Murray's maths.
I love Murray. I love him so much.
Bless the man, but no maths.
Speaking of which, there was some 1997 related shenanigans today, right? With a couple of drivers setting identical times. And of course,
yes.
Jerez...
It was the McLarens, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jerez 97 was the most memorable example, with 3 cars setting the same pole time. I felt really, really bad for Frentzen that day.
Yeah.
Because, like, he was, in theory, fast enough for pole. He just wasn't the first one there. Poor boy.
He doesn't even get on the front row. Put directly behind. Look at Powell. Look at Powell. Some kind of, like, therapy session. I'm sure he needed a therapy session after that season anyway.
He's probably been in therapy since then, for the rest of his career and beyond. He's still active, though, right?
I think so. I think has he not gone into Brazilian stock cars like a lot of that era of driver?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We should at some point watch Brazilian stock cars so we know what we're talking about, because it does seem to attract its fair share of retired talent, doesn't it?
That is true. That is true.
I also love that K-Mag's dad, Fat Jan Magnussen, has like spent the last, I don't know, best part of 20 years just driving Corvettes.
Yeah.
Like, what an odd fit, but it does fit because he was the last driver to be like a chain smoker. Like a heavy drinking chain smoker. So him and Corvette is like a natural fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that. Like,
Just needed a burger on the side.
that's the least classy of the supercars.
Needs a centre console with a McDonald's in the middle as he goes around. It's crazy. Speaking of late 80s, late 90s drivers, I want to send my best wishes out to Esteban Tuero, who's been involved in a massive cycling accident and is very unwell in hospital. So, alongside with Alex Zanardi, it seems to be a time for late 90s F1 drivers to be in the wars. So, wish Tuero the best. Who, funny enough, actually, I was researching out about him because he was supposed to drive the Minardi in '99 as well, because he was signed up for a long-term deal to be like a huge protege, but he gave up after the first year because he hated being at the back. Quite why he signed for Minardi, I've got no idea.
Yeah, I mean, what was he expecting exactly?
Yeah, bizarre. But apparently, random tales here incoming. So, you know, in 1998, it was Hakkinen versus Schumacher for the championship. Schumacher got the puncture and retired from the race, and then therefore gave Hakkinen the championship. Well, that puncture, everyone still suspects, is from the Tora Takagi and Tuero smash-up down at the chicane, where Takagi decided to just jump all over his rear. And then, funny enough, done exactly the same thing to Luca Badoer at Monza the following year after. But apparently, that Takagi came from such a way back and smashed into Tuero at such a weird angle that damaged his vertebrae. And he didn't feel also that he was very confident and health-wise to race in F1 afterwards. And so had kind of been trying to train and get himself healthy as well, didn't really feel that he was capable of doing so, and so kind of ruled himself out of the drive.
I kind of
and then
respect
just
him for
disappeared.
that.
Yeah. Bit of a shame at aged, I think he was he 18 or 21 at the time, but he was like the second youngest driver ever in F1 at the time before Verstappen obviously popped up in Pampers. But yeah, interesting. Random story time there on Failcast.
I have a random Failcast story for you. Beetlejuice, you already know about this. Beetlejuice and I were having a bit of a chat between episodes, and you know I'm an avid collector of F1 teamwear and memorabilia. Well, we were swapping links, Wodge as well, I believe, and a few other people came tonight.
Hey, Wodge.
In chat and so on. And I found a Arrows Yamaha #1 front wing from Damon Hill's race car, signed by Walkinshaw, Hill and Deniz.
Oh, wow.
For €1,128 in Switzerland. And you have no idea how close I came to blowing all my money on it. Genuinely no idea. Like, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, it'd be like 3 a.m, and I'd open the listing, and I'd be like hovering my finger over the bid button. It would have been the most irresponsible thing I'd done in a very long time, and I was so close to doing it, because I just want to... I'm building like a streaming corner in my office room, because streaming in here is a pain in the fucking arse, and very uncomfortable, and I think the quality suffers because of it. So I'm building like a comfortable, permanent streaming setup, and Beetlejuice just said that will make the best Failcast background, and you know, he's right. What I was hoping is that a wealthy benefactor would watch the stream and then offer to buy it for us, or like Roman Grosjean would have like a compulsion to donate some of his cookbook earnings to fund a now very pro-French Formula One podcast that's always said nothing but nice things about him. I've always said he was a good driver. Always. Those people who make horrible jokes, jokes like his cookbook being 92 pages of cakes he's dropped on the floor, those people are just bitter. Bitter, small-minded bigots, that's what they are.
A bit like his I was going to make an ingredient joke, and now it's gone out of my head because I've got Hamilton right in front of me.
Or, you know, those horrible people who say things like, where did he find his wife? In the trenches of the First World War. Or, you know, did he kidnap her from an elderly retirement home? Those people, sanctimonious is what they are. We'd never say anything like that on this show.
Disgraceful. Yeah. Talking of other interesting memorabilia, so I love all of that type of stuff. I keep on getting advertised on Facebook those track arts that go on the walls, and I'm always tempted with those, but I've managed to stop it. And also on Retro F1, where I've got my Minardi team wear and my Osella shirt and stuff like that.
I love that you have the shirt.
Yes. They do the old... It's not the arrows that you like, though. It's like proper 80s arrows stuff.
Yeah, the Warsteiner gold ones.
Yes. Which look a bit clunky, but like someone found bold on the keyboard and went, let's go with it. It's just a bit awkward, isn't it? But they also have the coffee tables where they've got like a wheel rim, and then they put like the glass top on it, and it's like this interesting conversational piece. I was like, fucking hell, no one would put any fingers on that at all. I'd have Mr. Sheen on it all over.
Touch it and you're dead.
Exactly. I'd turn into a paranoid wreck, but I would love it to the end of days.
Oh.
Well done, mate. Well done. I was hoping your tyres were going to go absolutely shit-fest, but you was good.
They did a bit. They did.
1-2, baby. 1-2.
That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. Right, let me deal to chat.
How did Daniel Kvyat get driver of the day when it's a 1-2 for fucking Renault?
I know. Yeah, you're right, Wodge. It is an insta-buy. It is. And it's not like Beetlejuice didn't give me all the encouragement I needed. He's always in my corner, my semi-official race engineer. But
Ocon finished 8th in debut Austria. Okay.
Oh, excellent.
Didn't know that. Thank you, Manor.
Well, again, the onion and the garlic. Dividends. I've had 2 pole positions now, back to back, and a 4th and a win. I'm super happy with that. I felt like I've earned that. And that was my 3rd online win.
Woo!
Whoop whoop. Sound of the police. I've unlocked everything as well. Those of you who watched my career mode stream may remember that I was complaining that I'd never unlock everything, but it turns out I have. So that was a lie. Right, let's see what the results look like. So a 1-2 for us. Superb. Mwah, French chef's kiss. Hamilton P3, Bottas P4, Verstappen P5, and Leclerc, so nothing surprising. AlphaTauri, though, having a good run with Pierre Gasly to P7 and Kvyat to P9. Perez
stopping worked for them.
Perez taking the last points paying position. Albon was our DNF, and Latifi is the last classified runner. Magical. Let's advance and look at the standings, shall we?
Yeah.
Because I need to
looking race director, but it was only me smacking Latifi that was the problem. I locked wheels Latifi when I came out the pits for the first stop, and I was like, "Don't spin me round, bitch!" But
doing my victory dance now.
I do feel like they need more victory poses on the podium. I would have liked more of those unlockable. Plus, I do like the fact that they're there, though.
I would also, yeah. I'd like very much one that you sort of bend over and slap your ass. Or, what also I would like is, you know that meme where there's a guy in like 3rd place and he's going nuts, like flipping the audience off and biting his medal and everything, spraying champagne. I'd really like that for P3, like a sarcastic P3 emote. Please give us that. Please give us that.
Manners popped in the chats. Maybe you should go full French. Congrats and get full moustaches, as this team seems to work for you.
I am actually starting to grow a moustache, but I can't grow a good one. My facial hair is very patchy. Because usually what happens is, if you're good at growing a beard, you tend to go bald. And if you can't grow a beard, you tend to keep your hair. And my dad is like 70, and his hair looks exactly like mine, but just silver. So he's given me good hair genes, but we both have very patchy beards. He's not really 70, I'm being mean. But he is. I thank him every day internally. Oh wow, we are joint leaders of the constructors' championship.
We are.
67 points apiece, us and the new all-black Mercedes.
This will all go to pot because I think it's Hanoi that's next, and I am woeful at that circuit.
Yes, I also fucking hate Vietnam.
Which is why we shall not be changing down the difficulty, because I actually want to not be last.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let me switch over to the other camera so we can have a bit of a chat with chat before we wrap out. Boof. Simon has a placeholder image instead of his webcam because he hasn't got his makeup on.
That is true. I had a bit of a fall. Well, that's what you tell an old person. After I put up some shelves, and then was so excited that I put it up, took a photo of it, and then basically walked into a wall when I was trying to send it to my other half, telling them how manly I was. So, well done, me.
Oh, God bless you and your DIY efforts. Watch a 1-2 and a good podcast. Is the failing Failcast the same as Mercedes saying this year's championship is still a contest? You flatter me, sir. Look at me fanning myself like a scandalised lady in the 17th century court. Thank you, mate. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I always feel when we race that the podcast suffers, and Simon and I are still talking about whether we do a separate podcast than just do this as a race or something. We'll figure it out. The problem is we're both a bit tight for time, aren't we, me old China?
Yes, I have all of the projects going already, and I'm launching some more later on today and next week. So I'm like, You're
so full of ambition. Do you know, it impresses me, but also it makes me kind of, fucking hate you a bit.
Thanks.
Where are you getting all this energy from and motivation?
Get milked.
This is why I subscribe to your Patreon, because you put out so much content. It's insane. It's genuinely impressive.
Thank you very much.
And can I just say, actually, I really, if chat hasn't gone to see it, I really liked your review of that town building game. I forget the name now. What was it called? Town.
Oh, the one where you click and it keeps on building up randomly all around.
Yeah,
you.
it's like procedural to a certain degree.
Yeah. Town Scrapper or Townscaper? Townscaper,
that's the one. Not just because your review of it was genuinely good, but you actually sold it to me. I'm gonna pick up a copy of that. It looks really, really good.
It's only £4.
Oh, bargain then. Right. I guess that about wraps us up. What's going on for you this week?
I am to try and help fund me getting out of a full-time job and starting to do content much more in daytime jobs as opposed to actually doing stuff.
You're going on the game?
I'm launching, pretty much, yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm launching some PR stuff, and I'm looking into launching a separate little music label as well. But apart from that, gaming on more of F1's career mode with Minardi. Woo! I've also got a surprise Simon played the Olympic Games video coming out later on this week.
I can't tell you how excited I am for that.
I've told you.
I've had some insights into it, and now I can't wait for it. I really can't. It's going to make my year.
All I can say is Simon is weighing over £200, and it lets you put your character as your same weight in the game and then go to the Olympic Games. And that's all I'll say on that. So it should be good fun. How about you?
I am flying to Denmark on Monday, and I won't be back until the following Sunday. So I will be streaming, but probably just from the beach, just like a hangout, have a few beers, show you guys around Denmark. I'm going to make some YouTube videos while I'm there, I think. And then, upon my return, we'll have some Monday Night Zero on Monday, as usual, 6 p.m. European time. The Saturday after, we'll be back for another Failcast. And in between, there will be some Grand Prix World. Tool Time will be returning on the Wednesday. Yeah, I finally figured out how I can make it work. So, lots to look forward to. Let's see what's going on here. I'm afraid the OnlyFans is still only speculated Beetlejuice, but I might actually take some wholesome pictures for our OnlyFans while I'm in Denmark, and then we'll see if we can get some of Simon and see if we can set it up. I think that could be a good laugh. Guys, thank you so much as ever for coming to hang out. You make all the difference. It's a pleasure doing this and having a chat with people who love F1 as much as we do. We love having you. And from both of us, I guess we hope you have an amazing week.
Yeah.
And yes, thanks, Wodge. I will do my best not to crash my drone onto some sunbathing ladies. But no promises. So next time, I'll join you from jail. Take it easy. And Sam and I are going to have to shut up now because we can't talk while the outro music plays. So thanks for joining. Mwah, we love you. Bye. Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.